Yo, what's up guys? It's Liberate the Vanguard, here with a deck tech, actually my first one of the channel, so after the video, after the deck tech, I'll talk about some of the strategies involved with this deck. It is a Liberator Garmore deck. See? Pretty sleeve. Unfortunately, it is not a meta deck. It is not Raging Form or all those others. I'm currently working on building two of the big meta decks right now, so hopefully I'll get a deck tech up by the end of this week, but no promises. This deck, however, is devastating to play against. Most clans have a hard time dealing with this deck. I've only had one really bad matchup, which I will talk to you about. Anyways, on to the deck profile. My starter is Liberator Cheer Up Trumpeter. She has the standard Forerunner skill, and she also has the skill of shove this unit into the soul, and your Vanguard will gain plus 3,000 for each Liberator rearguard you call out of your deck this turn. I'll talk more about the combinations with her skill later. Our grade 3s to start out with are 4 Liberator Garmore. His Limit Break 4 skill is a Special Counterblast 3, call top deck until you fill your rearguard columns. That is great. It creates such a massive advantage so early in the game that your opponent usually can't catch up to it. There are certain scenarios involved in this and combo plays that you can do off of this, but I'll explain more about that later. His passive skill is send a Liberator to the bottom of your deck, and this unit will gain plus 4,000. That is often used to fix a bad field. You will only want to use it once or twice. You don't want to sit on Garmore for too long. Your secondary Vanguard will explain why, but it's used to fix your field, so that way you gain a power boost, and you get to put triggers back in your deck. Usually a beautiful thing to have triggers in your deck. I think everyone would agree with me on that. Alright, our secondary grade 3 is 4 Liberator of the Round Table Alfred. Now, a lot of people question me, why aren't you running the break rides? And the answer to that is really, it slows the deck down. To wait for a break ride, and in addition to that, the fact that I will waste a break ride most likely, or I'll waste Garmore's skill, it's not worth it. Whereas this combination that I will show you will mitigate the need for a break ride. You're still going to get massive amounts of power every turn, and it really is devastating. But anyways, Alfred's skill is Limit Break 4 for each of your Gold Paladin rear guards. This Vanguard gains plus 2,000. And note that they must have Liberator in their name. That is very important. This is an all-Liberator deck right here. So, no matter what, you'll definitely have Liberators on your field. His passive skill is a Special Counterblast 2, call from the top of your deck if it's a Liberator. Oftentimes you won't want to use that, and you'll see why. But anyways, on to the grade 2s. We have 4 Blaster Blade Liberator, and my point in running him is really, it's Blaster Blade. Why would you not run a Liberator deck without him? He's the whole point of running it. And in addition to that, his skill is Counterblast 2, kill one of your opponent's front row rear guards. That'll be really good once we get the damage on Flipper, but until then, it's just a situational use, and it's Blaster Blade. He also helps create some really good pressure columns that you'll see later in the video. The next card I have is 3 Liberator of the Flute Escrad. Now, Escrad's skill is a Special Counterblast 1. When this unit attack hits, you can call from the top of your deck, following with the rest of the Liberator theme in the deck. However, oftentimes you will not use his skill. The point of Escrad is really just to create a nice pressure column where your opponent will want to guard it, because there are certain scenarios where calling from the top of your deck equals massive power increase on everything. The next card I run is 4 Liberator of Royalty Fallon. Fallon is the standard 12k beat stick for the Liberator's archetype. The reason I run him instead of certain other cards is really because oftentimes you'll get a grade 0 in your Garmore checks. And the chance of running into a Fallon and a grade 0 is pretty decent. So you're going to want to mitigate that crappy column with putting a 12k attacker or a grade 3 that you call out in front of it, so you still get that 16k magic number. Also, with this you can hit 19 with the grade 1s boosting, and that's also a beautiful column against cross rides, which are littering the format thanks to Reverse and Link Joker. Hooray. Alright, for grade 1s, we have 3 Little Liberator Marin. Little Liberator Marin is the standard 10k beat stick grade 1. The reason we're running it is because, again, you're going to have a lot of crappy columns. It's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's Liberators. It's random. So you want to make the best of it. And if you can call this and then a grade 1 behind it, you're still hitting 17k. That is still good numbers against a grade 3. I cannot stress how important the magic numbers are in this deck. They make the world of a difference. On to the next grade 1s. I run 3 Fast Chase Liberator Josephus. Now, Josephus is an odd card. It really sucks to get him any other time but on a superior call, because his ability is when he's superior called, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. If he ends up in your hand, he's normally dead weight. Nothing I can do about that. It's the way the game goes. A lot of people ask me why I'm running him instead of Bruno. The reason I run him instead of Bruno is just as dead, except for the one turn that you might get him, but otherwise he is about as dead, and I'd rather have that 1 card plus 1 from the soul versus a decent-sized to monstrous-sized beat stick that may happen once every 10 games. It's prioritizing for me, and that power is not a priority for me. On to the next grade 1s, we have Barkle Liberator. Barkle making a reappearance in the Liberator format, and he is just as good now. His skill is when he boosts a successful attack from Blaster Blade Liberator, he can superior call out of the top 3 cards of your deck and call it to rearguard rested. That is beautiful. This deck does not give you a lot of options when you superior call. It's really unfortunate, but it's literally the top card of your deck is what you get. This card gives you options, so instead of calling out a trigger, you may get the options of 2 triggers and a grade 1. Obviously, you're going to go for the grade 1. It gives you so much more options. This deck is really just call out of the top of the deck. Now you get to think about what you want to call. And it also creates a beautiful pressure column once you're just set up, so that way you have him and then Blaster Blade, and you have that option of just superior calling, boom, boom. It creates such high pressure for your opponent that they're going to want to guard it almost every time during a game. And it's going to force them to waste a lot of shield on rearguard attacks. The next cards that I run off the deck are 2 Quintet Walls and 2 Perfect Guards. Again, a lot of people question my choice in this one. They say that Perfect Guards are indeed the much superior guard for the situation, and oftentimes, yes, PGs are good. But the fact that I end up with 2 free counterblasts per game, and the fact that I want to conserve hand, that is the whole meaning behind my strategies in Vanguard. I want to use these. Because that counterblast 1, check top 5, oftentimes you'll get what you need or you'll get close to it. And if you get a Perfect Guard in it, I have been looking up the ruling on this, it will go off. That is something that I have had to argue a lot, and just putting it out there, it will go off. So, Quintet Walls are definitely good. They're not as definitively stopping as Perfect Guards, but they do provide a hand advantage that I had sorely missed with the Perfect Guards. As for my trigger lineup, I run the standard 4 heal, because heals are good. 4 draw, because that's really standard in Liberator builds. And a crit. Because who doesn't love a good critical trigger? It always helps. So now, strategies with the deck. Alright, let's say you're at 4 damage. I'm not going to bother throwing out damage. And your field looks like that. That is what you want your field to look like once you hit limit break. Because Garmore's skill in combination with your starter is very good. What the combo is you shove him into the soul to give your Vanguard +3 for each called unit out of the top of your deck. You a special counterblast 3, and you just have a field day and you call from your deck until your rear guards are full. At that time, you will have a hand of like 7, and all you will be doing will be plussing from there on. You have a decent field in this setup, so at that point, you send this critical trigger to the bottom of your deck to add 4,000 power, so he's already at a 26k base for calling out 5 rear guards, and now he will be at a 30k base with a 7k boost from little Liberator Marin. Shove that to the bottom of your deck, and now he is 37 by himself. And you can do that when he attacks, so you would attack with this column first to get the most out of your money for that trigger, so to speak. After that, you'll basically want to just ride over onto Alfred. And Alfred will just sit there. You'll fix your field with that, per se. And you'll just sit there for the rest of the game and just keep swinging with a 28k beat stick column and 2 pretty good number columns, a 16k and a 19k. Now, sometimes you will end up with a really crappy field. I will show you an example of a really sucky field. These fields hurt because you know your game is going bad when you hit them. It is a sign of doom. Let's say you hit 3 out of your 4 heals. Hurts, don't it? But that's the nature of Liberators. It is random, it is unfortunate. So you hit 3 out of 4 of your Liberator heals. You'll get to shove 1 back to the bottom of your deck with Garmore's skill. Now, you're going to want to leave it as is. Because there is no way to shuffle the deck, so it's not going to matter how many heals you put back. You want to get onto Alfred that next turn. You don't want to wait, because waiting will just set you up for a really big hit later in the game. You got your plus off of Garmore, and then you need to go on to Alfred. There's nothing you can do about a couple of spilled heal triggers. It's unfortunate, but welcome to playing Liberators. There is absolutely nothing you can do about it. All in all, the deck is really solid. Oftentimes, I end up winning with a 7-card hand advantage. And there are just a lot of lopsided games that I've played where it hurts to be on the other side of this deck. Because you see that no matter what you do, your opponent's hand is just ginormous. It is ridiculous, and it just hurts. It really does to be on the other side of this deck. I've played against it with a couple of my other decks in the past, and it's just mean. It really is. This is a phenomenal deck. I love the Liberator archetype, and I can't wait for the new support coming out in set 15 with the new Unlocker Alfred. That's really it as far as this deck tech. This is Liberate the Vanguard, and I'll see y'all later.